to show people, that the food is still tasty, and
Yes.
you can eat a chocolate cake and it's still delicious. I see that people enjoy it, and that I've been changing a lot of minds.
You have more power over your health than what you've been told. This is the Healthy Lifestyle Solutions podcast, and I'm your host, Maya Acosta. I'm passionate about finding healthy lifestyle solutions to support optimal human health. If you're willing to go with me, together we can discover how simple lifestyle choices can help improve our quality of life and increase longevity in a big way. Let's get started. Many of our Mexican family members still believe that chronic diseases are genetic and that there's absolutely nothing that we can do to prevent them. Tania Cantu created her Instagram account, Plant Based Mexican, to showcase delicious and healthy plant based meals that she eats on a regular basis with the hope of influencing others to try this lifestyle. As always, you can find the full bio and the links for my guests at our website, healthylifestylesolutions.org. Tanya, we're here in Dallas. We're actually in the Hello Studios in the downtown Dallas area. This is a second studio where I record. If I'm not at home, I'm here. And so I'm so happy that we were able to connect. Tanya, did you ever see the movie The Game Changers?
I have never watched it.
Oh my God, why not? You have
No.
to see it. It's on Netflix, everyone.
Okay, yeah, I don't usually watch TV very
Okay.
often, so I mean, but whenever someone tells me you should watch it, I try to
Okay.
take some time and watch documentaries and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, the reason that I ask you is because when the movie came out, it was at AMC in North Park.
Okay.
And when it was going to show, I um, organized an event there. I had some people that I knew that were in the plant based world, and I made a big poster. I called them Dallas Game Changers. I set up
Oh.
a table at the movie theater with books and literature, and I asked the company that released the movie if they can show two movie screenings of the Game Changers. So one started at one time, the other one started at another time, and then I had a social at the movie theater.
I
Yeah,
bet you had an amazing time and organizing and meeting and everything.
I'm gonna
It's
have to share some photos with you.
yes.
I had a couple of people that are, the Game Changers is about being athletes
Okay.
and that thrive on plant-based foods. It's about people that can show that you don't need animal protein to be successful as an athlete. And so I had some athletes show up as well. And I spoke with the manager at the movie theater, and they gave us a little square, a little area, and I had never done anything like that with the movie theater. And Earth X,
Yes.
and Courtney, they gave away seats for some of the theaters, for some of the two
The-
rooms to help fill up the space. And yeah,
with
so
the
anyway,
people that they know and everything. That's
yes, it was so
amazing.
wonderful. So now it's the
Yeah.
year 2022, and we haven't had an in person event in a very long time. But I thought, let's highlight Dallas Game Changers on the podcast again. Let's talk to people like yourself who are doing great things in Dallas. So,
Oh, thank
anyway,
you.
welcome to my show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me, for having me here.
And pleasure to meet you too. We were talking about how once you meet in person, it's like, wow, oh, I met you
Yeah.
through social media. You are tall. How tall are you?
I am 5'9". So, yes, I
Oh my
have been 5'9" since I was in high school. So they will call me 5'9", and I was like, it felt really good because I was walking on the highway and the hallways, and I could see my other friend from far because everybody was short. So it has
I
the
love it.
benefits and everything.
The other day I was at Central Market and there was sriracha.
Yes, the
I couldn't get it. It was at the very highest level of the grocery store in the aisle. So I was standing there looking at it, thinking there's just no way I'm going to be able to reach it. And then a woman walks by. She was 6 feet, by the way.
oh my
So
gosh, she's taller.
she's white, and I said, excuse me, and she looked at me, and I said, oh, you see that sriracha? And she said, I got it. And then
Oh
as
yes.
she was reaching, she said, look. And she was showing me that she was not going to stand on her toes. She just reached over, grabbed the bottle of sriracha, and handed it to me. It was
We
so
are
nice.
used to, and I mean, before someone asks, you pay attention and you're like, I'm going to be helping that person because I already know. But there was an experience that I was painting a room. My aunt's house had a room, and she was like, can you help me? So I didn't even need a stair or anything. I was just like,
Wow.
and I don't feel really tall, but yes,
I mean, it's
but
impressive that you're this tall for being Latina. I don't know.
you,
You probably hear that all the time, but
yes,
in a way, I think I'm a little taller than depending on what country you come from. I'm 5'2".
okay.
And sometimes, my relatives in Mexico are still shorter. They're like on my right here on my
Well,
shoulder.
I had an issue when I was a kid because all my friends were like this height. So whenever they were saying something really low, I would go like this. So my back was rounding, like a hump,
Yes.
and I was like, no, my mom started poking my back so I could sit up straight. And I was like, Mom, it hurts. So,
Right.
but it was because everybody was so short.
Mm-hmm.
But I know some parts in North Mexico, like Hermosillo,
Mm-hmm.
girls are taller than me, and I feel like
Taller. Wow.
yes, 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 it's amazing, to feel shorter. Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
yeah. That is so funny.
Yes,
I've always felt like I know that there's some girls that wish they were taller and they wear heels, and I love heels. I just can't tolerate them as much anymore. But I know that some people like trying to feel taller. I'm very comfortable with my height. I
yes,
mean, I'm okay. I don't know. I'm okay with my height. But it's
yes.
amazing to meet someone tall like yourself. So when we take a
Thank
selfie, I'm gonna have to stand on something.
And I'm also really comfortable with my height. And a lot of people ask me, why do you wear heels if you're
Yeah,
already tall? Well,
it feels
because
good.
whenever I go to a party or something that has to be a little more casual, I cannot wear my tennis shoes. And of course, I'm going to wear heels, because women usually wear heels whenever going to a wedding or stuff, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
okay. I don't mind being taller. It's
Right.
different.
And we love wearing heels,
Yes, it
period.
looks,
It
yes.
feels good the way we stand when we wear heels. That's so
So,
cool.
yes,
We're going to start just getting to know you. I want to tell our listeners that I learned about you when you reached out to me through social media.
yes,
You were really getting ready to prepare an event for Galentine's. So
yes,
instead of Valentine's Day, you were going to do something for the ladies like Galentine's Day. And you decided that instead of just making it a regular party, you wanted to kind of create a gala to support a local animal sanctuary. So
yes,
tell
yes,
us
yes.
about that.
Yes, well, the Vegan Gala it was such an amazing experience. Like you mentioned with the movie, it was also my first experience organizing something for people that I didn't know. The amazing thing is that it all started because we came for a Christmas party here. So at Belsi.
Oh, okay. So let me just kind of throw that in. We
Yes.
are right next door to a
Yes.
vegan plant-based restaurant called Belsi Restaurant.
Yes.
Well, Belsi, and that's where the studio is. So you guys all met there at the Belsi?
Yes, it's because I organized a Christmas party. I think it was on the 20th. I don't remember the exact date, but I was like, I want to get to know my followers. And there's a really interesting thing about my followers, that I was like, I want to do something for Christmas. I want to get to know all these people that start asking me questions and stuff. I was like, okay, so Christmas party. So I threw a flyer and I was like, whoever wants to come and join, everybody's gonna, pay for their meal. Of course, I cannot afford to pay for everybody's meal. So I was like, there's a restaurant that I want to go that I never came to
To
like before.
Belsi.
Yes, so it's like you guys want to come. So I started preparing because I studied to be a teacher. So I have a bachelor's on secondary education. So it's pedagogy. So I was like, okay, so I have to plan everything,
Right.
everything. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to do icebreakers, but not to feel like an icebreaker, because you don't know the people. So I was like, okay. So it was really interesting because they got to know and
Hmm.
everything. We ate, it's an amazing restaurant and everything. But because of COVID, everything is digital now. So we had a kind of like issue with payment because you have to separate and split the checks for 7 people. Of course, the first person that pay for everybody.
Oh my
So I was
God.
like, that's horrible. I am thankful that you had the money, which it wasn't that much. The restaurant is not that expensive, even though it's really nice. So I was like, I don't want to have this experience if I organize something like this again. So they were like, Tania, you did amazing. They were really excited. I got to know more people and everything. So I was like, for Valentine's, I'm going to do something, but I'm going to be cooking because everybody says that my pictures look tasty. And like, yeah, I'll be cooking, and they can enjoy my food and everything, and we don't have to worry about paying and splitting checks,
Right.
right? They
Mm-hmm.
can maybe just pay a ticket, and pay me for my services for cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing extra. I was like, I cannot afford paying for 15 people. I was like, okay, Valentine's Day. And then I was like, what if instead of only 7 people, it multiplies times two,
Mm-hmm.
15 people or 20, you never know. So I had to be prepared. Like plan B, okay. So I asked someone else for help. Her name is Yami Rios. So Yami, she also posts pictures of food that looks like professional. It's really tasty food. I have never tried her food, but I was like, hey, do you think you can help me if this happens? And she's like, yes. So I got to meet her again in a restaurant. I think it's called Wicked Bold or something in Flower Mound. It
Okay.
was my first time there. It's also really good. They have s'mores, and they have, kind of like just food that you can use a snack on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I told her about my plans about the event that I wanted to do. She's like, I have these ideas, Tania. Why don't you do a raffle and to support a cause? So, I want to support a local nonprofit. Do you know of anything? I asked her, and she's like, there's a sanctuary close to my house. She lives in the north, Little Elm or somewhere. I was like, okay, so what's the name? And she said Arispes. And I was like, okay, let me reach out to them. So I contacted them through Instagram. I wanted something more, in person, but I mean, it's an hour and so many minutes away. I was like, let me send her. So Jennifer, I explained to her what I wanted to do. I say, I want to do a raffle of basket, and I'm going to buy the goodies, and all the money that I'm going to get from the raffle tickets is going to go to your nonprofit. Yeah. So,
Wow.
Jamie also gave me the idea of going to Town Talk, and she's like, this place you can go and buy groceries, and you have to just check because there's a lot of vegan options that you can just read and check the dates. And I was like, okay, let's go. So she said, you maybe you want to talk to the manager, maybe to put their name because we're going to use their products. And I was like, okay. So I did get to know Aldo from Town Talk Fort Worth,
Okay.
and he was busy. There was a truck that he was unloading, and I was like, I don't want to take your time away. So I told him I was gonna buy some groceries for that, and called him. He said, "Call me whenever you're done." So
Mhm.
I was in the with the car, and I had some other groceries for my house, and he's like, I have something else for you, and I was like, what is it? He said, I want to donate everything. And I'm
Oh.
like, oh, no, 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 Aldo, I don't need you to donate what I need for my house. I just need this, for the basket. And
Uh-huh.
I really appreciate, I felt like God put the right people in the right moment. I was
Right.
like, I wasn't expecting to ask for free stuff or anything. I don't like to do that, to tell you the truth. But I was appreciating that he wanted to participate in me spreading the word about Town Talk, because they have products that we already know with cheaper prices. So I was like, yes, of course, I'm going to, because now I know I can tell everybody, hey, go to Fort Worth or Arlington, and you can buy these supplies. So yes, I got 2 baskets out of it because it was a lot of supplies. I was like, we can have 2 winners. The thing is, I didn't have enough money to throw an event, my first event that I knew that I was going to have
Mhm.
loss. I was like, how am I going to do it? I know I cannot do it by myself, even
Mhm.
though I want to do it by myself and not bothering anybody.
Mhm.
So I was like, I remember going to a vegan festival, and the vegan festival, it was Oakland and Turtle Creek somewhere. So they
Okay.
do it every year. And I remember some of the vegan businesses, and I was like, I'm going to reach out to the five businesses that I remember,
Uh-huh.
so let me ask for help. Maybe they know more about events and they can, help me out. How many people did you met at the vegan festival? A lot.
Right, right. And it's
So
just you forget sort of because it's so
yes,
many people. Yes.
yes. I was like, okay. So yes, I reach out to you and three other people that I really want to thank.
Hmm.
And these people is I Joy Forever Bath and Body is Diane. She's amazing. She does cruelty free soaps, creams.
Oh,
She even has candles, vegan candles. So
wow.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. She has her own business in her house, and
Hmm.
she has also her own job. And also Food Save Me. Catherine and Matt, thank you for your support as well. They have free classes for nutrition, and she she is amazing. She has a really good story. I also had plant-based DFW supporting
Oh
us
yeah.
with one of the gifts. So
Uh-huh.
instead of me adding to the baskets, I wanted to have more winners,
Oh yes.
So I was like, this is a really great gift. I'm going to do a third place.
Hmm.
And then there is, and thank you for inviting me. You really make me feel special. Like if I
Oh.
am doing a change and doing something good for the world, for Dallas and for people that see me. So I was like, okay. And there's Creativity Art Studios, Grace or Griselda. And then Jamie introduced me to her.
Hmm.
And she's like, yes, I want to put something for. So she gave a gift card for whoever win it. So it was a fourth prize. So I was like, this is good. Thank you so much, Chris. And she's like, yes, the vegan community likes to help in any way. So this is
Yes.
good. So I was like, I have never done this. So I was, it felt really good. And I also had Town Talk Aldo for giving the gift baskets, and he gave 10 gift cards, $10 gift cards for people to go and buy. So
Wow.
and getting good health. I don't know if you have heard about him.
No, no.
Well, he has not just tasty, but it's also healthy chocolate ganache. He has all these protein bars and collagen bars and everything that are vegan friendly. So
Okay.
I got to meet him. He is a follower on Instagram, and then he came to Dallas. He's from San Antonio. I
Uh-huh.
was like, thank you so much.
He came from San Antonio to see for your event.
Well, not really. He came to Dallas because he has customers here.
Okay.
So he's like, I do want to meet you and this and that. And I'm interested in you trying my product. And I was like, of course, because I like hiking and I need protein bars
Right.
on the go and stuff. My breakfast chocolate, I am a huge chocolate lover. And I was like, thank you so much for giving me one of your products to add in in the baskets. The gala came, it was like 20 people.
Uh-huh.
So the thing is, because of Yami, I got to know Vegan Announcement. I don't know if you know him
No.
through Instagram. He has never put his face in any pictures, but for example, you turn into vegan, you send him a video of why you became vegan,
Okay.
and then he announced uh, your video. He edits it and everything. So I'm like, this is amazing. So I got to talk to him, and he's like, yes, I would love to help. And I was like, thank you so much, and but I was like, can I do a FaceTime because I want to get to know you. I know you're busy and you have a family and stuff. So he's an amazing guy. He is a chef. He has been a chef for 13 years. I did
Wow.
not know this.
Hmm.
And I was like, you came here because I'm not a professional chef, even though people think I am a chef. I appreciate that. I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, why I cook this way. And I was like, thank you. Nathan is his name.
Uh-huh.
I was like, Nathan, you're gonna be a great deal of help. I like cooking, but you have the skills, so
Right.
thank you. So he only not only had the skills, but he
Hmm.
only had the where you put the food, like the trays, and he knew about food handling like I do.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, thank you. So he did amazing. He has a really nice vibe and attitude, everything. He was amazing. He was enjoying having to talk to people and everything.
I
So
bet.
yes, I got to invite friends and family and then followers. So I was
Ah.
like, I got to meet Courtney, the colorful Courtney. She
Hmm.
went to my event with the husband, and oh, Arispe, they couldn't go to the event because they were really sick.
Oh,
really sick, but
okay.
they invited one of the volunteers for the
Mm-hmm.
sanctuary, so I got to know another person from the sanctuary. So the night was amazing, even though I was running because the
Yeah.
place, we didn't have a parking lot for the guests and everything, so
Oh,
it was just everybody enjoyed it. That's what they tell me. I hope they are saying that.
yeah. I missed it.
So
I was when
yes,
you contacted us. I knew because I asked you. I think initially for the dates, I knew we were not going to be able to go because we already had something else going on for that evening. But I think what excited me the most about everything is that we have not done anything in person because of the current
hmm,
circumstances. Like we just shut down and we're still staying in that shutdown
yes, I
state
mean,
of mind. So now also I want to mention that when I put a message on the local, I think it was on different Facebook groups that I'm part of, I asked, do you know of any people that are plant based Latinx? Because for the month of May, I also wanted to feature people in the plant based community that are from the Latinx community, background. So Latinos, Latinas, mainly it's been women. But I said, do you know any people? Because I feel like we're not highlighted enough,
exactly.
right?
Yes.
There's so much happening in the vegan movement with activism, and I think there's a strong force behind that. But when it comes to just healthy eating, just lifestyle and healthy eating, I don't see a lot of us being what
Out
is it,
there, like,
highlighted.
yes, highlighted, yes. Now that you mention it, it's really interesting how people think, oh, Latins, fajitas. No, I mean, we have a huge variety, a vast variety of veggies. I mean, if you think about it, and I mean, one of the things is what made me, go into vegan or plant based first. I was like, okay, so let me do a brainstorm session. What do I already eat? Corn, avocado, pico de gallo, potatoes, cactus, nopalitos. So all that, I was like, yes, I already eat all these. So now, how can we eat it? Turn it into, plant based? Because
Hmm.
of course people use lard, chicken stock, beef stock, and all these things that we don't actually want in our body because it, it takes long time to digest, and then is more problems for the health. Right now,
Yes.
we see it in our family, and one of the things I want to point out why I
Hmm.
became vegan.
Yeah.
So, okay, so first it was Rodolfo Flores. He was my significant
Okay.
so he was a boyfriend, and I came home and he's like, hey, you need to watch this. And I was like, I don't watch TV very often. What is it? He's like, what the hell? And I was like, okay, tell me, what is it about? And then
Uh-huh.
he's like, okay, it's about this and that. And I'm like, okay, I'm not interested in watching it. That's what I told him. you know I didn't want to watch it, but it wasn't because I was not conscious. I was like, I already know what companies do
Hmm.
to in order to supply the whole world. So they have to stuff animals with this and that in order to grow them bigger and in order to process more meat. And I'm like, I already know this. It's just you are so used to, like, for example, I grew up seeing my grandfather preparing a chicken, grabbing the chicken
Hmm.
from the
From the coop, the chicken coop.
yes, and he was trying to see if the chicken didn't have no eggs in her and stuff, because he was respectful, but still eating the animal and getting the feathers out and then cleaning maybe a pig or cleaning something else. It was normal for me to see, in order to eat on special occasions, right?
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, mom, what do you used to eat when you were young? My
Hmm.
mom, I'm sorry, mom, but she's from the 1958. So she told me, Tania, we didn't eat meat. We only ate meat or chicken whenever we had to kill something, because it was for a special occasion, because it was expensive,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So she's like, no, this is what we already eat. I was like, okay. So it's easy because my mom likes to cook. I started cooking when I was 7. So I was
Wow.
like, yes, because I was by myself and I was hungry. I was like, yes, I need to cook. I don't mind watching it, but what do you want to do, Rolo? You know, and he's like, I don't want to eat anything that comes from an animal, not even eggs. That's what he said. I was like, okay. So because I was the most of the time I did the cooking, maybe 90% of the time.
Right.
So I was like, okay, so I'll cook. Let me research.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let me do all this first off because we don't know what vegan is when you're not into the world.
Right.
So I was like, okay, vegan is about not eating anything, and not is only it's not only about eating, but it's also being conscious on all everything that's going on in the world, like not using a lot of plastic or you know, it's a huge it's ethical vegans, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I was like, okay, so first I want to love myself first, what I'm putting in my body,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in order for me to help everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
in order to do something for the world because
Mm-hmm.
I was already saving water, I was already saving electricity because of my dad. My dad was always like, turn off the
Right.
lights,
That's
right?
how
So
we are. My dad
yeah.
was the same way. So you're from Mexico,
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
one of the things that another thing that I did for the Facebook groups is that I said I want to hire. Oh, well, I was saying I want to highlight Latinos, Latinx people that are plant based. It didn't matter if they're local or not.
Uh-huh.
And someone said plant-based Mexican. That's your handle at
Yes.
plant-based Mexican. And I said, wait a minute, that looks familiar because I did. And then that's when I realized, oh, you're the one that contacted me initially. So not only did
Yes.
I already know you and I knew your handle, someone else recommended that I interview you.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and then so then we spoke on the phone, and we found out that we had a few things in common. I'm originally from Mexico. You grew up there in between both countries. I'd love for you to share that. You have a teaching background as well. But when you're talking about your parents and what they ate, we're talking about their experience in Mexico.
Yes, in Mexico. My dad was always, you know, teaching me that it was important to put something in the stomach in order to function right.
Mhm.
It didn't matter if it was just one banana, you know, but you had to
Mhm.
go to school with something in your stomach.
Mhm.
And my mom did all the cooking, but my dad also whenever she was not there. So both
Mhm.
of them cooked. So I was like, okay. So, but it wasn't balanced. You know,
Mhm.
it was tasty, really
Right.
delicious, but it wasn't balanced. I mean, if you're gonna eat this and that, and I was like, you know, now that I know, you know, it's kind of like, no, it was good, but and because I was always really active, I
Mhm.
love to be in every sport, you know.
Mhm.
Uh, I can mention and I can do another talk about everything I used to do when I was a kid, but from handball all the way to tennis. I mean, it was swimming and everything. So it was important to be fueled by food, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So, okay. So my nutrition started because of my family, right? Because they tell you what to eat and what not to eat and stuff. And I was like, okay, first off, why is my stomach always bloated?
Mm.
So when I was 15 years old, I started listening to my body. I was like, what's going on with my stomach?
Mhm.
I used to go play with my friends and my stomach, you know, was craving, you know, like, hey, you need to drink water. Okay, let me go inside my house and instead of water, a cup of milk, whole
Oh.
milk, cow's milk. I was like, look, 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 you know, plain milk. And then my stomach was bloated like if I had a heavy rock. So I was like, okay, every time I drink milk. Why? Because milk is for
For
cow's milk, right? I was
yes.
like, okay, so I found there was a milk that was, but still from cows, but it wasn't making my stomach like that. So I was like, okay, so when I was in 2006, I started checking on nutrologists because
Mhm.
I was going to be Miss Nuevo Leon because of my sister.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I didn't know that.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
I was not expecting that because I did not study to be a model or anything, but she took me there and they put me with a nutrologist and they told me what to eat and what exercises to do. So I started like, okay, so it's not just being active, it's also
Uh-huh.
about the food balancing and everything. Okay, I like it. And I was liking how my body was changing, not just because of exercise. So I was like, okay. So I came back to the United States in
Oh,
2012.
well, let me ask a question about that. Were
Yes.
you competing to become Miss Nuevo Leon, or you were chosen to be Miss Nuevo
No,
Leon?
I was competing to become. So you
Okay.
have to, they give you a nutrologist, and they also tell you have to go to this gym, and they're going to train you to, you know, have
Yeah.
the perfect body,
How
right?
did it go? Did you enjoy the whole
I
experience?
enjoy the experience, but it wasn't what my sister, she loves me. We fight like any other sisters, but
Uh-huh.
she was like, you have the perfect height and this, and you're beautiful. I was like, thank you. I don't feel like I should become a model. So I did not put all my work into it.
Uh-huh.
So I was not chosen
Okay.
to be Miss Nuevo Leon because of the work that I did. And I did it for my body, but not to be that, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so I came to the United States back in 2012, and I was working. I had been working for restaurants since I was 14 years old.
Okay.
So
Wow.
always into the food industry.
Yes.
So I knew how to handle food. I knew the customer service and everything. So I was like, okay. So I knew how much oil they put in that, and the smell and
Mm-hmm.
everything, right? So I was like, I don't feel like eating this today. So uh, I came back, and I was working for a restaurant called Urban Taco. They have some vegan options, but you just have to let them know.
I
And
think I remember them. They still have, they're like two different places
right
or
now,
no?
only Mockingbird Station.
Oh, yes,
But
I remember that.
yes,
Yes. They
yes,
have this I've been there before as a vegan, and you can get like rajas and
yes.
corn tacos.
Well, though that, and they have the portobello, which is
Uh-huh.
like pastor, and that
Yes.
does not have any cheese or cream or any chicken stock. I mean, I trust the owner.
So you worked there at
I
that
worked
particular one?
only one year because
Okay.
I wanted to get to know people, and I was like, okay. And then I moved to Mesomaya,
Oh, yes.
Mesomaya downtown, and I
Okay.
got to know Nico Sanchez is a chef for
Okay.
the corporation.
Nice.
So, the interesting thing, Maya, is that I also work at a restaurant in Monterrey called Vice Bistro. This is an international restaurant.
Uh-huh.
So it's Italian. So I got to know the chef, Edgar Vergara. I used to call him mi gordito de chicharrón because he was chubby, and chicharrón because the poor,
Wrinkled.
yeah.
Oh my God.
So we used to, love each other like, co-workers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I told him, I want to know how to prepare these, and he will teach me for free, and because he cared about me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. And then Nico Sanchez also, I was like, hey, I don't know how to prepare these, and he has the knowledge, and he taught me, some skills as well. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to, everything's fresh, you don't have to go buy canned things, you don't have to go and buy frozen things. And I was like, okay, so all these starts, it's good to eat fresh
Mm-hmm.
for your body, you know but sometimes it's not possible, right? Because you are craving something like,
Yeah.
hey, I want strawberries, but strawberries are not in
Yeah.
season, so you buy them frozen,
And I
right?
want to add also the two
Yeah,
restaurants that you just mentioned tend to have kind of like a Mexican or
they're
Tex-Mex,
Mexican.
Mexican, not
They're
so much
Mex.
Tex-Mex. To me, Tex-Mex is covered in cheese.
Yes, yellow
Everything.
cheese.
Yellow cheese.
Yes,
It's the cheese
yes.
we don't eat. I mean, I did not eat that cheese.
Yeah,
And
not the
so,
American cheese.
but the other restaurants tend to have a little bit of a twist to the foods, but they're still considered kind of Mexican. Would you say Mesomaya? Is that
Mesomaya
Mexican
is
or South
Mexican.
American?
No, it's Mexican all the
Mexican?
way. And the interesting thing is that both of the restaurants, they don't use freezers. And Urban Taco does not use microwaves.
Ooh,
So, yes, which is really good. Mesomaya uses microwave, but I mean, it's just for some stuff
okay.
like, yes,
Well, I'm glad you
but
told me because someone once told me with the restaurant industry, some of the restaurants literally take frozen packets of food in the bag
and
and
put
they
it in.
throw the bag in water boiling and then they serve it on the plate.
Yes,
That's disgusting.
I know. They don't do that. So that's why I fell in love with the restaurants, those two
Those two.
particularly.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so I had enough of restaurants because of, I wanted to spend time with family and friends and special occasions like
Mhm.
Christmas and New Year's and all that. And it was a hard time, like, no, I don't want to go to work when everybody's at the house enjoying the time and
Sure.
everything. So I was like, okay, so it's time for me to go. and I still talk to most of them, and it's a really good way of me knowing how to plate, how important it is, the presentation. Because if you see your plate and it does not look good, it's kind of like, "Ah, I have to eat this, like because I
Yes.
need something in my stomach." But they say love comes,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You know
I
it.
love it. So now that
Yeah.
I think of your social media and the
Yes.
photographs that you put out there, and which is why I wanted to talk to you, it makes sense. You have that experience of
Yes.
knowing how, because you worked at a restaurant, you have that experience of what is visually appealing for people.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
And Maya, the first thing that I started, well, the pictures that I started posting, it wasn't to, show unknown people
Hmm.
what I was doing.
Hmm.
It was because I know my family and friends, and I was like, they're gonna worry because what are you doing? Why are we're in the party and you're not eating with us? And you know how we are. You go to a house and yes, here some cookies or or a bread, a piece of bread and coffee or tea. You're
Right.
always in the kitchen offering something, right, to your
Right.
guest. So okay, so I started taking pictures of everything that I prepare. I was like, if they tell me, hey, you need to eat something because you look different or you look skinnier or whatever they want. I had always been lean, not skinny because I'm not lean. Like my weight was never
An
in
issue.
jeopardy.
Okay. You know,
Like
issue. Yeah.
never an issue with my weight. So it was always the same. So I was like, okay, so I did lost 10 pounds when I turned into vegan 5 years ago. Well, almost 5 years, 2 months, and it will be like 5 years.
Right.
So I was like, okay, so all these pictures, whenever they're like, so they make fun of you, but you're used to, right?
Right.
Like,
Yes.
so they were like, oh, there's a lot of grass here, you can eat, you know. Oh no, I don't need grass because dogs pee in it.
Oh,
So the
that's
pee, yeah. I'm
otherwise you
so
would eat it.
yes, I'll be like a cow
Like the,
eating, yeah,
yeah, that's so
chewing the
funny.
grass.
Yeah.
So they start making fun of you, like, but it's okay. That's the way we show love, right? So I
Right.
was like, so no, this is what I eat. So I started showing the pictures instead of me telling them what I prepare every morning, every afternoon, and all this. I was like, no, here's the pictures. I don't have to talk. You can see.
That is a
And
wonderful way to convert people. And that's why part of the reason why we share photos in the first place is
yes,
because we don't just eat salad.
exactly. And Maya, the interesting thing is that my Instagram, because it wasn't private, I was like, whoever wants to see it, right? Um, I went to Hugo's Invitados. I don't know if you have heard about them.
No.
Okay, Hugo, he was my boss when I was in Meso Maya. He was the general manager. He's
Uh-huh.
also from Monterrey. Well,
Oh,
he opened his own restaurant named after him, Hugo's Invitados, Hugo's Guests. And everything is organic, everything is fresh as well, everything not deep fried like Meso Maya does some deep fried things and stuff. So he did more on the healthy side. So he did this amazing restaurant. You should go. They have
ah,
vegan pancakes. You just have to tell them, it has to be vegan,
yes.
but because they put a cream on top,
Okay.
which is not. And I was like, I need to go, I need to go and see. Well, when I was in Hugo's, I was, I walked in and he was there and I was like, hey, how are you? I went all the way to the kitchen.
Ah,
I was like, hey, Natalio. The chef was there. I was like, Natalio, and the wife. I was like, Nancy, and like if it was my home,
right.
And I was like, hey, how you been? So I guess the guests, the people that were eating at the restaurant in that time, if they see who's her, right? Why is she saying hi to everybody and she's
Right.
wearing right?
Right.
So I was walking back to my table. I didn't do it to make, not because it been like 3 5 years without seeing them. And I was like, okay, so I went back to my table and I had to walk through the bar. So I felt someone watching me and I was like, why are they watching me? But I kept walking. I was like, and then when I was walking, someone grabs my arm. I was getting ready. I know, just kidding.
Ah,
No, no, no.
I was
I'm
gonna
gonna
say
fight.
that's
No,
so funny.
no. And I turned, and it was a lady and a gentleman, and they
Uh-huh.
were Mexicans. And I don't know if they were born over there, but they told me they have the family over there. So I was like, and are you plant-based Mexican? And I was like, no. I felt like,
They recognized you.
yeah,
Oh my
my smile was like, I don't care. I'm going to show my mazorca,
God.
my big smile, because it felt really special because I'm not a professional photographer. I'm not a
Uh-huh.
chef. And,
Uh-huh.
they already know me. And I didn't had a lot of followers. It was like maybe 700. And she already knew me. Yes. And then she's like, yes, you're, an inspiration for me because I'm trying to go vegan and this. Now she has these oils and these teas and everything. She lives in Miami. And so I was like, I'm making a positive change to someone because they see how I look. I'm not bragging that I look perfect because
Uh-huh.
we're far from perfect, right? But I think I'm creating an impact to someone else's life. So like
Yes.
I'm going to do better because it's not just taking a picture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take better pictures. I'm going to learn how to do better for them because
Yes.
I want people to listen to their bodies,
Yes.
right? Because family, my mom's maternal family, most of them, they're nine.
Mm-hmm.
All of them have a issue with the health
Mm-hmm.
related to nutrition. High blood pressure, diabetes,
Triglycerides.
okay, excuse my French.
And then
No,
excuse our accent. No. No,
no.
but so everybody in your family has health issues.
Yes. My grandmother passed away when she was 63, 64 on her
Oh.
birthday because she had a pacemaker,
Oh.
and she was not taking care of whatever she was eating,
Mm-hmm.
and she was really young, and
Mm-hmm.
even though she died, and she had these issues, my family still doesn't take care of them, right? They go to the doctor and they give them all these pills because they have to control the
Mm-hmm.
blood sugar levels, the blood and the sugar levels in their body. And I was like, okay. So I was like,
Yes.
I don't want to have to go through all the pain that they're going through,
Mm-hmm.
you know that even though my brain was like, yeah, I have it in my blood, all these diseases are
Mm-hmm.
hereditary.
Mm-hmm.
No, no, they are in your brain because you see everything that's going on, and it's hard to get rid of all these habits, but it's not hereditary. So that's
Sure.
why it's important for me, to be eating healthier.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's difficult,
Yeah.
because you still think about frying something, but it's not impossible. So you're like, what is it that you need? You need a really good reason for you to be really motivated, and that keeps you more motivated.
That's
So
important.
yes,
Yes.
yes, because Rolo told me, yes, I don't want to eat. Yes, that's your reason because you watch this. But
Mm-hmm.
what will my reason be? So I was
Right.
like, okay, my reason is because of this.
You were talking about your family and the
Yes.
health issues in your family, and how a lot of times in our Latin communities and our Spanish speaking communities, our parents will say it's hereditary. It's está
Yes.
en nuestra sangre. It's in our blood.
Sí.
But we
Mm.
now know that we have the ability to turn on
To
those genes, so we can turn on the diabetes genes on
yes.
or off. So you're saying you don't want to have those health problems like your
No.
family.
No. And let me tell you also, there are so many family members, like they're not close related, but that they're going through cancer right now.
Mm,
And I'm like, why is this? So right now, I'm also seeing that it's not just the food that, oh, let me buy organic. I sometimes don't buy organic because the food doesn't look good. Like you go and buy a small carrot. I don't want a small carrot. I want the nice looking one, right?
mm-hmm.
So I was like, what does it matter buying organic if you're cooking in Teflon? So right now, I'm going to houses to cook and showing them, you can use these, no oil, no water to cook. So to show people, that the food is still tasty, and
Yes.
you can eat a chocolate cake and it still is delicious. It's just a matter of you changing your mind and not thinking that it's going to taste like soil or
Right.
like dirt.
Right.
So yes, I'm really interested in keep on doing things for the community,
Yes.
because I see that people enjoy it,
Mhm.
and that I've been changing a lot of minds on their good. it doesn't mean I'm a professional nutrologist,
Uh-huh.
but I keep on learning, right?
Yes.
So it's when I chose the name Plant Based Mexican, it was because I did the research. I was like, okay, vegan. Vegan means all this? No, I don't want to go there because I'm in the learning process. If I put vegan and someone tells me, oh, you're vegan, why are you, because I'm in the transition of doing something better for me. I'm not competing against someone who's doing better than me because they have been vegan for 17 years. So I was like, I don't want to put vegan because I'm learning. I don't have a background of vegan family or stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I decided plant-based Mexican. And every time I keep on learning about nutrition. Like, okay, now I don't want to be eating this. I want to be eating this.
I know that you've been between both countries because your hometown, your family is at the border of Texas and
Yes,
Mexico, kind of in Monterrey still.
Monterrey.
Will you be traveling still back and forth in terms of moving? Are you going to stay here in Dallas a little longer? And what is your vision for the work that you're doing with plant-based foods? Do you have an idea where you want to go with all of this?
Yes, yes, I do. I thought about my followers. Most of my followers are non vegans, most of them are. So I was like, okay, they are asking me all these questions. I cannot be replying to every single particular one. So I did a vegan challenge. So for those who want to try it,
Mhm.
this is what I went through. These are my recipes. This is the instructions to cook them, and this is a shopping list. So I had a group of 15 people. Thank you for loving me so much. And they did really good. Two of them sent me pictures. I did not ask for pictures, which
Mhm.
it was really amazing to see their transformation. And I was like, I do not want to share them if they don't want to tell me, hey, you can share them. But it was really interesting how they wanted to keep. I wanted just an introduction for the vegan world to
Mhm.
tell them this is vegan, knowing all this, not just the food. You have to worry about what you put in your body,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So I did this 1 month challenge, and they were like, hey, are you gonna do a second part for February? And I was like, well, I have the Vegan Gala and I have all these, and I have more projects because I like hiking, I like mountain biking, I like nature like crazy since I was a kid. Monterrey is full of mountains and rivers, and
Oh,
yeah, so
beautiful.
I want to keep on traveling. I'm not planning to move from Dallas anytime soon, but if I have to, of course, I'm willing to if there are mountains and rivers. Yeah, so it's I did a second part. I was like, it's okay if I don't sleep my 8 hours because they are asking me and I want to help them because they are
Mhm.
asking for help. So
Sure.
I did this. I do want to the videos that it was a follow along videos, live
Okay.
videos with them. I want to do better with my videos so more people can see them. No, it was just a
Mm.
private community in Facebook because I was waking up with my PJs and cooking for them. Okay, I'm
Oh.
going to work. This is what I'm doing.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
No, not yet. So
Oh.
that's what I want to do. I did a road trip back in October,
Uh-huh.
and my followers know about it because I was posting this is where I'm staying, this is what I'm cooking, and
I
this is what
love
I'm eating.
it. Ah.
But I did a road trip. It was 10 days, and I went through 5 states.
Oh.
So I did go to Zion National Park. I went. It was a
Oh.
bunch. I mean, I could do another session of talk about all the road trip adventures that I did, but it made my soul light like you don't have no idea. It was by myself.
Okay.
So I was camping, and it was amazing, an amazing experience. And a
Uh-huh.
lot of people could see that I was enjoying it and they
Uh-huh.
want to experience that. So I was like,
Ah.
I'm going to be traveling soon with the followers that want to join me. I'm going
Wow.
to be posting in my Instagram stories if it's going to be women and men all together. But
Yes.
I'll
Yes.
be sharing that soon
Yeah.
for people to go and see how I travel as a vegan and
Yeah.
what you eat. And it's not necessary to go like to restaurants to enjoy whatever you're
Yeah.
eating. So
So, we have a YouTube channel, but right now I'm only highlighting podcast episodes. And one of my goals has been we have a camper van.
no, you're so
Yes, I know.
lucky.
It has a refrigerator and a little
Oh my
kitchen and a
god.
sink. And the first time we took it, we went all the way to Big Bend.
Oh
Yes,
my god.
and we camped along. We stayed at different places, and I cooked different meals. And I mean, I went really prepared because there's a lot of storage area there. And I said, I want to make videos like that of teaching people how you can travel like in our van, or like when we go in an airport, like what am I carrying with me so that I can stay healthy? But I don't have that kind of time.
And yes, I mean, you want to inject people
Hmm.
with the positive things that you do for them to start doing it. So
Yes.
it's kind of like, hey, this is working for me because this is, I feel happy. I like being here in the outdoors. It's easy. I don't
Hmm.
get lost, but
Right.
I do want to motivate people to do more nature activities.
Were
So
you this way before you became plant-based? Because you did grow up in Monterrey, so I'm assuming that inspired you to be outdoors. Is that where you?
yes.
Okay,
So I
that's.
used to climb everything, even houses. But being in the river, I didn't care about being dirty. I didn't care about
Oh.
having the best shoes to climb a mountain. I
Hmm.
mean, it was just experiencing and
Hmm.
doing adventures, right? So it was kind of
Yes.
like I'm with my grandmother in Allende. She's from Allende, it's like 40 minutes away from Monterrey.
Uh-huh.
So we were like, this was paradise, like, hey, yes, this is a jungle. But
Right.
of course, Monterrey doesn't have a jungle.
Yeah.
But it was, always being in we call it Saddle Mountain. Similar, there's a Saddle Mountain in Arizona, and
Okay.
there's a plane, a lost plane that you have to know the trail.
Oh.
They don't have the trail, so you have
Oh.
to go and do the adventure and stuff. Well, Monterrey, there's a cerro,
Uh-huh.
well, which we don't call it a mountain, but it was like 10 minutes away from my house.
Oh
So
my
I was like, okay,
God.
so I used to climb it. And then there was Chipinque, which I used to hike it as well. And
Uh-huh.
being in the river with the carts that you can go, it's
Hmm.
called boogies.
Okay. Yes, yes, I
Yes, with a
remember.
friend,
Yeah.
Abraham. He was like, hey, this is not turning on, push it. And I was there pushing, and all the what I love
Yeah.
being in the river, in the lake. Lakes, not as much because you cannot see the bottom.
Right. So you don't know what's crawling or what's swimming in there.
And the rivers flow, the water flows, so it's more natural than the water that is stuck in the
That's
lake. So
true. That
it's
is
kind of like
true.
I enjoy being in the river. So
Yeah.
yes, I'll
That's beautiful.
yes, yes.
On your social media, you mainly speak in Spanish or do you do both?
Both.
Ah.
I try to switch my brain because sometimes I'm going live and then hello, how are you in English, because I see most of them, the followers I get to know because I ask them
Hmm.
questions, and then I'm like, okay, they don't speak Spanish. So whenever I see them connecting, I'm like, hey, how are you?
Right.
Or hola or whatever. So when I see more people they're connecting speaking Spanish, I speak Spanish, and then most of the time I do half and half.
When you're only speaking one language, it takes a while. Like for me, it takes a while to speak in Spanish. And then once I get started, I got to come back to English. It's like, wait a minute.
And let me tell you what happens. I do not keep quiet. So whenever I forget a word, I try to think about the definition and explain what I'm trying to say. Or sometimes I say the word that I think that it is,
Right.
but I'm translating the wrong way, either in Spanish or in English. And they're like, no, Tania, that doesn't
Just.
work. The word you said, and there's some followers that are like, Tania, this is not the way you say it in Spanish. I'm like, I'm sorry. But uh, you get in another country and you're thinking,
Yes.
I will use the same vocabulary. And of course, not because you don't talk to the same people in Mexico all the time, right? You don't go to the mechanic and talk to them in Spanish, or you go to the dentist and I mean, you don't use the Spanish words as
Right.
often, so you
Right.
forget the word, right?
Yes. For
Yes.
us, my family in Mexico would always say, please don't forget your language. And but if you spoke Spanish, people were offended when I was growing up. There was just so many things that were happening when I was growing up. So now, there's this whole thing like My Cultura. There's a station called My Cultura in iHeartRadio
Okay.
that has the Latinx community from various ages and backgrounds, and they mix up the languages, and they're saying, who cares? It's okay. I don't want to be in a box. But you and I have we have backgrounds as educators, as teachers.
Yes.
You're taught to not mix the languages. That's one of the things that we're taught is either speaking English or Spanish. And then when I was a bilingual teacher, most of my children were children of immigrants whose parents only spoke Spanish. So in order to transition them to master English, first I would, some of the subjects were in Spanish and then some were in English. So there was a large percentage of the day where I would speak in Spanish and then I would switch it to English and only speak English. And that's how you transition. You help children master their language
Mm-hmm.
as they're learning a new language. It's a lot of work.
Yes, of course. Where I used to work, they knew perfect English in Monterrey. I don't know.
Wow. Nice.
I
Because
don't
it's a
know.
private school too. So
I
they
don't.
probably had
Yes, they
teachers,
were. Yes, or
tutors.
maybe. Well, I even had Italian students. So I mean, I know maybe they know more than one language, right? So like having the time of my life with the third graders. Yes, you maybe had nightmares.
Oh my God. So now going back as we're wrapping up a little
Yes,
bit,
yes, yes,
going back to your food,
yes.
what are some of your favorite dishes to cook? And also, uh, which ones are your favorite in terms of Mexican plant-based dishes?
My favorite dishes to cook is something easy, because we live in a world that we are always in a hurry. That's why microwaves were invented. You want to heat something up and everything in a can, you have something handy or stuff like that, right? So I enjoy oatmeal like crazy. Since before going vegan, I like my oatmeal. I was never a picky eater, so I'm really international. I like Japanese, I like Mediterranean, I like Ethiopian. Have you tried Ethiopian?
No.
They have vegan options in a restaurant in Austin.
Oh.
It's it's like Indian food
Mm-hmm.
because the spices that they use,
Mm-hmm.
but it's something different. Is so
Yeah.
I like everything. I have a gift. That's what they tell me. And every time I go to a restaurant and try, like for example, Mediterranean food that I don't have any background, it's kind of like, hey, this tastes like this:
Mm-hmm.
lemon, garlic,
Mm-hmm.
this olive oil,
Mm-hmm.
parsley, whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Whenever I try it, I'm like, yes, I'm going to make it at home. First, I do some research. Okay, she did it like this, she did it like that, and I have this at home.
Okay.
So I do my own recipe. So
Yes.
why do they put a quarter cup of oil? This is too much fat, saturated fat. No.
Right,
So
exactly.
I'm like,
Gosh.
okay, I'm going to try it without it, and then I'm going to
Mhm.
see so it's kind of like, oh,
Wow.
I can do it smoother this way.
Some of the guests I have come on this show, we are now talking more about cultural appropriation, food appropriation. And the conversation has been that many times when ethnic people are introduced to plant based foods, we introduce them with foods that are not normal in their cuisine, like
Yes.
even tofu. Like
Yes.
one of my guests was saying, well,
I don't
one of
like.
my guests that's from Iran, her mother said, I don't want to be plant-based because I don't like tofu. And her mother and my guest said, since when do we eat tofu in Iranian food? You have to eat what we eat normally. So one of the things that's we've been talking about is the fact that sometimes you see like a white person, and we do talk this way sometimes, a Caucasian or a person making chile rellenos
And it's
or tacos mexicanos, and the food is not cooked the way we would cook it.
exactly.
There's a need for real ethnic people to make more food videos of how you're describing the tips that you're giving us, even just for the tortillas. What
Yeah.
should we look for? How can we replicate a Mexican tortilla in a healthy manner, like with oats?
Yes.
Is that something that interests you? Is to teach people how to do
Yes, yes.
healthier
The,
Mexican food?
I'm preparing, to do something, nothing big and nothing fancy because I mean, I'm
Mm.
new to this. I know I need help,
Mm.
but I'm
Yeah.
going to be introducing videos.
But
Yes.
how do you cook it without frying, without using egg? I mean, there's just so many things, but I would love to learn how to cook like that, healthier, that is. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes. I
yeah.
will. I will do something better,
Okay.
and I'm excited to teach a lot of people how to cook. And
I wanted to know, do you have a final message for our listeners? And also, if you wanted to say something to your followers, and also, how can people learn about you and follow you on social media?
I want to tell you that because you mentioned the tofu, you don't have to eat tofu if you don't like it, because I know people that don't like it. It's You have a way of doing things, but it doesn't mean that it's going to work for everybody. So I started without no processed vegan food, no tofu, no nothing. So it was just whole foods, whole foods or plant based. So it's good to be eating that, but if you're working out or you're doing more and you need more sources for protein, you have to lean towards something else, maybe some seitan or some tofu, or if you don't want tofu, you can switch it for edamame. It's whatever works for your body. You have to listen to your body. Like cabbage does not good with my stomach, it bloats it. Someone told me
Mm-hmm.
how to get rid of that and stuff. So I listen to my body. Listen to your body when you're trying food to do better for your own health, to feel better on the long run.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you can follow me on social media. I have Instagram and Facebook, and I'm at plantbasedmexican. And I also have my private Instagram, which I don't follow, just family and friends. But yes, in Facebook it's also plant-based Mexican or Tania Cantu Chavez.
Awesome.
So
Wonderful. Do you
yes,
have a website?
not yet,
Okay.
because I'm working on the recipes and everything to do a website.
Okay.
So
And
yes.
any idea if you're going to have any other events like what you did with Arispe?
Yes, I do want to do it, but as a traveler. So I
That's
do
right.
want to include the vegan travel with where we can stay, where we can eat, and where we can hike easy for beginners and stuff. So
That's wonderful.
yes, yes, yes. So I mean, I will do that. I do want to do maybe some camping and stuff for myself, and I want to do it for July. I want to take people maybe to Utah or to Colorado Springs.
That's wonderful.
Yes,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is going to be July because the weather permits hiking, and a lot of people cannot stand high weather conditions.
Hmm.
For me, I was hiking in Utah and we were 29 degrees,
Oh,
and then it was 48 degrees and I was already hot.
oh my
So
God.
yes,
Well, I'm definitely
so
going to follow everything
yes,
that you do with your
thank
travels
you.
because I love to travel. I love the outdoors and I want to stay healthy. So I want to learn from you as
And I
well.
want to keep on seeing you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really thank whatever put you in my life,
Ah,
that I know I'm going
thank
to
you.
be keep seeing you in the future.
Yes.
Thank you so much again for inviting me, for letting me speak about what my passion is and what I
Yes.
want to share with you guys and everything. So thank you so much, Maya. Tell
Yes.
your
Thank you.
husband I hopefully meet him soon.
Yes.
That I'm
Yes.
excited and
Thank you.
everything.
And I hope that my listeners, I hope you guys had a good time listening to Tania share her story
Yeah.
about, life between both countries, also being plant based and how she's combining that with her travels. I think that's something to look forward to. So thank
Yes.
you, Tania.
Thank you so much and have a good day.
Thanks.
Thanks.
You've been listening to the Healthy Lifestyle Solutions podcast with your host, Maya Acosta. If you've enjoyed this podcast, do us a favor and share with one friend who can benefit from this episode. Feel free to leave us an honest review on Apple Podcasts. That helps us to spread our message. You can also head on over to podinbox.com/HLS to leave me a voicemail. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you for listening.